Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showcasing off what I'm going to be calling the Ultimate Dragon Tenyi Stun deck. And the reason why I want to call it that is because we have so many cards that stun our opponent to make it so they will not be able to go ahead and special summon. And when you can't special summon, it's not really looking too good for most decks. Most of the meta, in fact all of the meta I would even say, needs to special summon. Without special summoning, you're not going to be doing too good at all, especially since Lightning Storm is so expensive. If they don't main deck it, which a lot of people don't main deck a lot of copies of it. Sometimes people do also side deck it, but I have seen a lot of great usage of that card. And when that card isn't being played in the main deck simply due to, well, the price, honestly, that card is super expensive if you want to go ahead and run multiple copies, let alone running the prismatic rare will cost you over $1,000 with just those 3 cards alone being prismatic. But nonetheless, let's go and check out some duels where we don't go ahead and have vanities turn 1. Surprisingly, Worms, if you guys haven't seen how insane Worms can be with Future Fusion, which, well, if it can actually go off, that is. But this deck has a lot of stun potential, even without using the vanities. They have the Wushang Strike over here, so this makes it so as long as you control a non-effect monster, you get to go ahead and negate it. And if the set card you control is destroyed by opponent's card effect, you get to special summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck, which will just kind of help you get your deck rolling a little bit faster as well. So it doesn't have to have vanities to make it so your opponent cannot play. There's a few other cards, and since the deck is all about utilizing some of the cards in the graveyard, you also still have a little bit of play, even if, let's say, you lose some advantage. But this deck is going to be able to maintain advantage with just making it so your opponent literally cannot Yu-Gi-Oh for the most part. I know that's just like a big theme in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, is to make it so you're stunning one player. And let's see how this matches up against Shaddolls. And another card I want to mention that is very powerful is the Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, aka the Tenyi Wubang Stance, which is what it used to be called. Anyways, the Flawless Perfection is a really great card. And the reason why is that all non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. And then once per turn, if your opponent special summons an effect monster where you control a face down monster or a non-effect monster, you get to just draw 2 cards. So that allows you to instantly kind of have some recovery if your opponent is playing something that would spam and you don't already happen to have a board established. But what I love with this is vanities really makes it so just your opponent can't special summon. So you can still special summon, so you're not locked out, but you can still technically control one. It's just that if, as long as you happen to control a non-effect monster, you can still have, again, a effect monster. It's just that you just have to have another one. And then again, the draw double card's really good. And we have Christia over here. He's going to go ahead and go into the Cross Shape over here and then go into Unicorn, trying to activate that effect. But since we drew the extra card, we drew the hand trap, the Dragon Manira over here, or Mapura over here, as it's called in the TCG, you're able to go ahead and if your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a non-effect monster, you get to go ahead and just banish from your hand graveyard, negate that effect, pop it. And the following turn, guys, we were going to go ahead and summon a Christia, and then our opponent would essentially be locked out. And Shaddolls is a deck that can't really function too well without being able to special summon. But we did have to play with, of course, the Squamata, so he was able to go ahead and get rid of the vanities. But simply the deck has a little bit of extra play again, even without having the no special summons. And this deck over here is one of the matchups where if you summon something that says that neither player can special summon, or even just one player can't special summon, it doesn't look too good, because that's all this deck does. It needs Dark Magician. I mean, oh dang, he's playing that Secret Village. Okay, but it doesn't really matter at this point, because once this card is made, like, what do you do in a Dark Magician deck? All it does is special summon Dark Magician for the most part. But I have a few other duels to share with you guys. This one is up against Sky Striker. So let's go ahead and see how this plays out. So I did preview replays up until this point, and I was like, okay, this is a pretty cool deck idea, because I haven't seen a Tenyi Dragon Stun deck in a while. So this is going to be a Sky Striker deck with Mystic Mind. So let's see how this plays out, because I'm actually kind of curious to see who's going to be actually winning, because I haven't actually seen the results here. But I just think that this will showcase off a variety of, meta and some non-meta-ish duels. The thing is, Sky Strikers has been relevant for so long. Heck, Orcus are going to be coming back once they get that new support card too. But I think we've seen some of the same stuff, even Salamangreat, for just so long. I mean, when is the new stuff coming out? That's why I'm covering Tenyi right here, because I think it's pretty good. It is definitely a splashable archetype, and plus, here's our secret for Going second is the Monarch Storm fourth, being able to tribute your opponent's card to go ahead and make it so they can't play. Excellent addition here. But because he's got Mystic Mine, we gotta wait a little bit before we can go ahead and go off. But now that we have that face down, as long as we can go ahead and throw up our field spell, we're gonna be able to basically get that extra drop power because, well, Sky Strikers do need a special summon. But I really dislike Mystic Mine. It's one of the worst cards. Okay, so now he's gonna finally start making his plays, but we've got the, of course, the Unrivaled Fists over here, and I guess he decides to go off, and he's like, okay, I can't special. He got rid of that card. I think he done goof. I think he was planning to go ahead and make some play here, but then he realized, I can't special summon, I got a full. I think he went for the play too early here. I think that's hilarious. He lost because he pranked himself. I mean, he's got some hand traps, but these hand traps aren't going to be really doing too good up against this because he's just going to not special summon. So, like, what other effects is he really activating, right? That's pretty good, man. All right, let's go ahead and check out another duel over here. I really thought he was going to make a comeback with Mystic Mine. Dude, this guy, is he playing Duel Links, man? I haven't seen Silent Swordsman in, like, forever. I don't know if there's, I don't think there's new support or a new build with Silent Swordsman. I would love to see it. Oh, what the heck is this? We've got Apple Magician Girl. Okay, I see the Marshback Rune. Okay. He's new to the game. Or he's just a fan of the Dark Magician girls with Silent Swordsman. I really don't know what this duel was over here. I would say that was a much better deck versus a deck that he just put his favorite cards in together. Alright, so Fortune Ladies, I've mentioned before, Fortune Ladies are absolutely insane with, of course, the newer support with, of course, Magician Souls, and the draw power can be crazy. But this time he went first. Oh, he didn't even explode. He's got the Magician Souls pass, Christy summon, and that's like pretty much GG. Again, Lightning Storm is what he needs, so he's going to go ahead, Lore of Darkness, see what he goes in, do. He's going to go ahead and reset some cards, draw some cards, but there is no special summoning, and at that point, like I said, decks will just be like at a loss right there. So let's go ahead and go over the deck profile. In case any of you guys want to go ahead and play it, I would say it's a relatively consistent deck, but I think we can make this deck a little bit better with some suggestions. I want to go ahead and give my boy Lipperock, but shout out to him for sending in this deck profile as well as the gameplay. So first off, we've got 9 cards to make it so your opponent cannot really play Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of just complete lockdown. So a lot of consistency with that. So we've got 3 copies of Christia, 3 copies of Vanity's Ruler, and 3 copies of Vanity's Fiend. We also have Mari over here, so this has that potential ability to go ahead and give you those tokens to go ahead and maybe make some link plays. I mean, they are also technically worm, so it can kind of support, I guess, the dragon. The Tenyi dragons aren't actually dragons, they're worms. But nonetheless, it does allow a little bit of options for some plays in here. And then we've also got the 3 copies of Anjna over here. So, or Ashuna, as it's called in the TCG. Sorry, I just know these cards by the OCG names, plus it says it right here. That's why I just always call them that. But anyways, most of the Tenyi dragons are just for that effect to just special summon the cards so you instantly have a tribute. But they also have bonus effects in the graveyard. So anyways, Ashuna's effect over here is being able to, you can banish this card and special summon another Tenyi monster from your deck except for itself. And then you can't special summon monsters except for worm monsters, but that doesn't really matter because you're just going to normal summon tribute. Anyways, and then we have 3 copies of Rishuda, which is a really great card. This lets you target a card your opponent controls and just bounce it back to the hand as long as you control it. All the effects have to require you to have a non-effect monster, by the way. And then for the green one, Nahada over here, this one makes it so the opponent's monster loses 1500 attack. So in the off chance they finally make some small monster, maybe boost it up with an equip or something, they can try to get over your Vanity's Fiend. You're going to go ahead and just maybe be able to say no to that. Yeah, and then we've also got the Mapura over here. This lets you, as a quick effect, when they target something, you go ahead and just negate the activation and pop it. And then with Sasana over here, this lets you target one of your destroyed monsters and special summon it if one of the if you control a non-effect monster you control is destroyed by battle by card effect, you banish it. I'm not really a fan of this card too much, but it does let you have a little bit of recovery if something goes wrong. But I feel like most of the time you want to try to go a little bit faster in the deck, and that's kind of like more recovery. Then we have 3 copies of the Hara over here, and this one has the effect where you get to banish it and then target one of your banished worms and then add it back to your hand, so it's again more recyclability with the deck. And then we have the if you want to go ahead and target my card, I'm sorry, mate, because that's majority of the time how people will be getting over some of the cards. Mind Control is still a very popular card. This card is an effect where during the player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster, you discard it and negate the activation. And then during either turn, when your opponent would special summon a monster, you can return this card from the field to the hand, but you don't have access to summon. It's just for that other effect. Plus, it does look pretty good with the deck's theme here. And there are 3 copies of the Hollow of the Dragon, or the Dragon Cycle is what I'm going to call it. And you just get to send 1 more monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you get to add from your deck to your hand 1 Tenyi monster with a different name. So that's kind of cool. And then we have 3 copies of Stormforce, so that's that you tribute your opponent's monsters to go ahead and go for a boss monster, because that basically means just 1 of the card. I guess with Vandy's you don't need that following card because this one needs only 1 tribute. So you can go ahead and use 1 tribute, or you can go for the double tribute to summon 1 of these. And then 3 copies of the Flawless Perfection. This lets you get the draw power effect. That's a pot of greed every single turn when your opponent special summons, which if they're not special summoning, they're usually not winning anyway, so I like it. It's a great mix-up in the deck. And then there are 3 copies of the Fist of the Unrivaled, so that lets you go ahead and negate anything that would go wrong. And then for the extra deck, he's playing a Dragon Ogre, and then we've got Borreload, we've got Appaloosa, the Fierce Ogre, 2 copies of that, 1 copy of Master, 2 copies of the Dragon Immortal, 2 copies of Lamphalinkus, 3 copies of the Monk of the Tenyi, and then we got Link Spider and Link Karibo. So one suggestion for this deck to make it a little bit better, and this is going to make the deck a little bit pricey, just as a heads up if you guys are planning to play this in real life, but Extravagance, I think Extravagance can be really good in the deck. Yeah, you kind of need your other Tenyis, but for the most part, you can totally get away with just slamming in multiple copies, like play 3 copies of the Dragon Immortal, 3 copies of Monk is already here, so this lets you just kind of cycle through cards much easier, and then just triple copies. Dragon Ogre is just a fantastic card, and again, this card does let you have that as an option. I'm not a big fan of this card. Like I said, this is the one where let's see, they have to wait too long. I feel like this could be an excellent addition to this deck to make it a little bit better here, but you guys can also make some suggestions down below in the comment section below. But I think Extravagance would definitely help out with this deck. And then as far as what I would take out, Lamphalinkus, because it's vanilla, you can still keep this 1 in here, but I would just max out on 3 copies of Dragon Immortal, and then feel free to go ahead and play what you want. I just feel like this card is going to be very difficult to get out, and it won't really help the deck too much, but I mean, for the most part, you can throw in a copy in it. Again, go ahead and mix what you want to in the extra deck, but the main suggestion is play 3 copies of this and 3 copies of this. The rest you don't make too often. I think this can make the deck a little bit more consistent and have easier access to being able to draw those other cards that you need to go ahead and go for those plays. But anyways, that's it for the Ultimate Tenyi Dragon Stun deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit subscribe, turn that bell so you don't miss out on other cool Yu-Gi-Oh decks that are completely different here. That's what I like to show off on the channel. And if you guys want to send me in replays of anything else, as well as a deck profile like my boy Lipperock, once again, shouts to him. I'll leave him down below if you guys want to check him out. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.